1, 2, 3, 4. Those are numbers, but you already knew that. If you want to know what number you're going to pay each month for your car, use Kelly Blue Book My Wallet on Auto Trader. They're really good at numbers. Auto Trader.
And hello, and welcome to Unequal Sequel
Extra.
It's Friday, and that means one thing, and one thing only.
It's the weekend.
Well, it's practically the weekend, yes. It also means, our extra episode. So exciting times for all. And
it does.
I bet a lot of people wondering, Dave, Rich, what were you going to talk about this weekend? There's no sequels coming out.
You're right. There aren't any sequels. So we sort of fudged it and made a sequel and thought, everyone's talking about it. We kind of deserve to talk about it, really.
So the way I'm looking at it, Rich, is it's not a sequel to anything, but it is another Batman film.
Yes.
So it's in a...
Yeah, so we're doing The Batman, just in case you hadn't seen the title of this of this episode.
One of the biggest films this year.
Well, can we say that already?
I think so.
Do you think it's one of the biggest films? You've got Doctor Strange coming. It could be bigger. We've got Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun 2 coming. That could be bigger.
Avatar 2, end of year.
Avatar 2, that could
They're
could
still
be,
saying it's happening. So.
It could be bigger.
But no, here it is. We're talking about the Batman.
We are talking about the Batman, yeah. And, there's a lot of love for this movie, right? There's a lot of people who are absolutely losing their minds over this film.
Do you want to drop the plot? And then we can really delve into it.
I was thinking about this earlier. There's so much plot.
There's this guy called Batman, and he's Bruce Wayne.
Okay, so I'm not going to explain Batman because everyone knows what Batman is.
Hopefully,
I'm not going to go through that bit. But basically, there is an evil killer, psycho killer on the loose in Gotham. Call himself the Riddler. I don't think that's any spoilers, is it?
No.
It's the Riddler. And Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, is working with the Gotham PD to track him down and solve the mystery of what his motivation. And along the way, meeting some of your favourite Batman characters, Catwoman, Penguin, and possibly some others.
Yeah. Also Jim Gordon. He's,
Jim Gordon.
Falcone's in there as well. Alfred.
This point is kind of an early Batman, but not an origin Batman.
No.
So we're not seeing how Batman became Batman. He's already Batman, but I think it's quite early in his vigilante.
I would say a year or two.
Yeah, if that. Yeah, quite early on. Like he's not got all his tech and stuff.
No.
He's a bit low tech in places, and he's still kind of unresolved about a lot of things, and still kind of quite it's emo Batman. It's that stage. It's Bruce Wayne has not yet developed his Bruce Wayne-ness.
Just say what it is. It's emo Batman.
It's emo Batman.
Yeah. Well, I think that was okay for the plot because it's a long ass film.
It's a very long film. I'm getting too old for 3-hour movies, Dave. I had to go for a wee twice.
I know. There's a point you came back and I still whispered to you, there's still an hour and a half to go.
Yeah. It was quite long.
Did you think, well, okay.
I'll tell you what you could have done with.
Go on.
An intermission.
I would have loved an intermission.
A little break halfway through to go and have a wee and get an ice cream. That's what it could have done with. Cinemas out there listening. You want to sell more ice cream? Intermission.
It could easily have had one as well.
Yeah, it could definitely have done with it. Yeah, okay. It's So what do you want to start with, Dave? Should we start with the good? Start with the bad? Start with the ugly?
Oh, I like what you did there. Let's start with first question I always ask you, Rich, is did you enjoy it?
I think I did, but I don't think I enjoyed it as much as most people seem to have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And the length was just too much for me. I think it was just the final 45 minutes or so felt pretty unnecessary. You know, maybe it's just me.
Definitely
Maybe
the
it's just
final
me.
20. The last goodbye.
Definitely the final 20. Yeah, I think there was a point. There's a point where you could have nicely ended that movie and not worried about the rest. But I think they kind of just wanted to get the big. They just wanted some explosions. I think they could have done it without the explosions. You know.
Yes, because it's unlike any Batman film we've seen before, and that's a positive, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Because
are we going to go into spoiler territory?
no, let's try and keep away from spoilers if we
Really,
can.
that's going to be quite difficult.
I
though,
don't
isn't
think
it?
that it's that hard.
No,
honestly,
you don't
no.
think?
I think.
I mean, It's. I tell you what was nice to see.
Go on.
Bruce Wayne with his bat mask off and still with his black makeup on. You know, like Robert
Never
Smith
saw that,
from
Bale,
The
did you?
Cure. Yeah, you never saw that. Like that was always like, what happens to that makeup? Did it disappear? What's going on there? So that was nice. You know, bringing out his inner emo / goth. You know, that was nice. And it was kind of like nice to get a less ripped Batman. I think. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Robert Pattinson's quite ripped, but he's not your Affleck Batman. You know, like there's a different type of Batman, I should say.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's the whole film's a different type. This felt more like a David Fincher Seven Zodiac kind of.
Well, I was
Hunt for
thinking
a killer
about it.
film.
Yeah, I think it felt like a lot like a kind of detective / police procedural kind of movie.
Well, he is the
than a
greatest
superhero.
detective in the world, isn't he?
Exactly. That's DC is Detective Comics. He is the world's greatest detective. That's the
Is that
whole
what he
kind of-
means?
Yeah, DC stands for Detective Comics. Yeah.
Well, I learn something new every day. I don't know what I thought it meant. Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it does. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty
No,
sure.
I believe
I've always
it.
thought that's what it meant.
Say it with confidence and I will believe you.
And yeah, Batman, as you say, Batman's supposed to be the greatest detective in the world. And this kind of was like a detective movie, a gritty, like you say, Fincher-esque whodunit. Well, not whodunit, but who's gonna solve it and what's the pattern, what they're going to figure out, which I quite... Do you know what? I really like police procedurals. That's really, those kind of like TV shows like Mayor of Easttown and stuff where they're trying to figure out who the killer is and there's always a nice juicy twist. However, I'm not sure I felt the twist on this one.
We all knew who it was, where it was,
Yeah.
where it was going, and still there was an hour to go.
Yeah.
I'm not always a big fan of those films.
No.
The film that came into my head was the Christopher Nolan Insomnia film, when
Okay.
there's an arrow tagged on the end, when everyone knows who's doing what, and it drove me mental. But that's probably my own issues about just getting on with it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not... Okay, so the good stuff. Let's stick on the good stuff for now before we go on to the stuff we didn't like quite so much. The chemistry between Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz is brilliant.
That is hot.
It is. It absolutely is. If you told me that they're now a couple and they're completely in love, I would definitely believe it because their chemistry in this movie is great. And also Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, bringing us a much closer to Catwoman in the comics that we've seen in any kind of movie so far. Certainly better than Nolan's attempt at Catwoman. I think she's great. I think that character works really well. I think she's brilliant.
I thought she was great, yeah.
I think Colin Farrell's really good as the Penguin. I don't think you'd not even know it was him with all the like prosthetics, but he's great.
Who did you think he looked like?
I don't know.
I think there was like a bit of De Niro about him.
Oh yeah,
Fat De Niro.
maybe. Yeah. Like De Niro, like Raging Bull De Niro when he put loads of weight on.
Yeah, he has like kind of De Niro's eyes in a way.
Yeah,
as in Colin
I get
Farrell.
that. The dark eyes. Yeah, I can see that. He did look a bit De Niro like. You're right, but a good performance again. I think, considering how much like prosthetics he was wearing. Like, I think
it looks amazing.
It does look amazing, and he did pull off a great performance. I would have liked more Penguin, if I'm honest. Like, and hopefully we'll get that in other, in the next movie because there's going to be a sequel. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Also, apparently there is going to be a TV series for just Penguin.
Oh really? Okay.
HBO Max, I think, announced today or yesterday. I'm not quite sure what day it is, but it's a limited series, so he's going to be putting on that prosthetics for a little bit longer, I think. I would have been all right if he wasn't in this film.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it helped in any way.
Do you know what? I kind of felt that about like the Carmine Falcone, John Toretto.
I quite liked him.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. I think he's a great actor. I think it's great. I don't know. I didn't feel like he was. I didn't feel he was very villainous. To be honest, like it wasn't very. Falcone's supposed to be like the big bad boss of Gotham, crime boss of Gotham, and he didn't really feel like that to me.
I got the underlining terror that he can bring. I think, very subtly, he's a very subtle man.
Okay,
I'd say, but he would kill you within a heartbeat, like quickly if he could.
I don't think he would. I think he'd get someone else to. I think he would pay someone else to kill you rather than try and kill you himself. But yeah, talking of big bads, I do think Paul Dano. Is it Paul Dano or Dano? It's Dano.
If you say Dano and I say Dano, one of us will be right.
One of us will be right. I think he's great, and he needs to play unhinged more often because he was brilliant.
He's good at playing unhinged.
He is, yeah, he is. And now some people have.
I liked where they went with that character. Sorry.
Yeah, me too. And some people have compared his performance to Heath Ledger as the Joker, and I don't think it's quite that good. You know, it's good, but it's not quite that good. And I don't. Yeah. Again, we'll talk on that in a minute. We'll talk about that again because I think that's something that's lacking slightly for me as well. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But
I think the only thing different, the same thing about you can say about Heath Ledger and Dano is that they both did like video recording scary messages.
Yeah,
I think their performance wise, I think they're a little bit different. I can see where everyone means. Yeah,
I think Dano went for more overtly unhinged, whereas Heath Ledger was like you're almost like, is he mad? But then that's what the Joker should be. You should always be second guessing if the Joker's insane or not. You know, whereas but I just. Yeah,
the music was good. I'm carrying on with good things.
I
can see you struggling.
I didn't like the music very much.
Oh, I liked the music.
I was not a big fan of the music. I felt that it was too dour and too miserable.
The whole film's miserable, Rich.
The whole film is dark. It
rains throughout. It's not a happy picture.
I mean, I'm not being funny. The cinematography is wonderful. Like, it looks great. Like, I don't know who the cinematographer is, but it's beautiful. You know, it's really well shot. But there are some clunky bits. There's a weird
you were saying this yesterday.
Yeah, there's a weird clunky bit where, again, I hope this isn't a spoiler, but basically Batman jumps off a building and uses his batsuit to glide to the ground, and the shots are of like a steady cam on his face with his body moving behind him, and it looked fucking awful. Like, it reminded me of Ghost Rider. You know Ghost Rider, where the CGI's bad and like Nicolas Cage's body moves 5 minutes before his head does. That's what it looked like to me. It looked so cheesy and cheap. And there were also a couple of times where it just felt like weird editing choices. Like you'd cut from a scene of Batman to a scene of Batman. You know, with nothing in between. And what's that about? Like that's like breaking the film law. You know, it's like, you're not showing the time shift, you know? There's Batman falling off his motorbike, and then the very next shot, Batman stood on top of a building. Like, that doesn't give you... No.
Can we not suggest he's just being brave? By the way, the cinematographer is Greg Fraser.
I know that name.
I think he's done Dune recently in some Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think so.
And Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go.
So, yeah, brilliant cinematographer then. And the cinematography is lovely. But yeah, okay. So we're sort of slipping into things that I didn't like quite so much.
You're struggling to be positive, so I'm enjoying the ride.
I mean, I am positive about it. I think it's a movie that is. Now,
can I tell the audience quickly that we saw this film together yesterday?
We did, yeah.
And we both thought each of us hated it more than each other.
We did. I thought you really hated it. And I was middle of the road on it, and you thought I really hated it.
And I was middle of the road on it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as good as everyone's saying, obviously.
I definitely don't either. It's not as good as Dark Knight for me. No way. If you want the ultimate Batman movie, go and watch Dark Knight. I don't think this is it. I also don't think... It's almost like they've gone, oh, you like dark, gritty Batman? Here, hold my beer and see what I can do with this. It's darker and grittier than you've ever seen before.
But shouldn't that be applauded?
Yeah, probably. It's closer to the comics, I suppose. But it also feels a little bit like, whereas the Affleck Batmans were made to fit into a universe, this kind of feels a little bit like we've got to put something out because Marvel are. You know, a little bit like we've got to make another Batman movie. It doesn't fit with anything else that we're making, but you know, Marvel are doing so well, and
Well, Batman's bigger than most things that Marvel has. To be honest, it's the biggest.
But not in the DCU so much.
It doesn't have to be in the DC. This one, I don't think this is going to touch the DCU.
No, that's what I mean. It's kind of
certainly wouldn't fit. Anyway.
They've had to do this movie because Marvel are so big and they want a slice of that share because the DCU is so crap.
I don't agree with that. I think they had to go in this direction because the Justice League and Batman vs Superman got such a ripping. For certain things, like the original Justice League from the Joss Whedon one that got canned, and you know, rightfully so because it was shit. And they were never going to give Zack Snyder the keys to the kingdom again. They pleased the fans. They needed something to launch HBO Max. It did great there. When you've got a property like Batman, you're not going to let it sit on the shelf, are you? You're gonna.
No, true.
You have to bring it out to play at some point. And why not give it a different look? Because it's certainly not like Burton's. It's certainly not like a Joel Schumacher.
No,
you know?
And it's Nolan's Batman turned up to 10, isn't it? You know, it's all turned up to 11, I should say. It's darker and grittier.
And this is more like I felt it's more like the Batman Arkham game.
It's more like the comics.
Again, I'm not a big.
I'm not a huge DC fan either, but from what I understand, it's more like the comics.
So
I don't know.
I think that there's definitely a fan base for this kind of film.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we can see it because you know
it's making huge amounts of money.
Loving it. Yeah, and it's making loads of money. Critics are liking it, and I don't know. It's really overlong. That's and it's
a killer.
It's got 5 endings for God's sake. Like it makes like if you think Lord of the Rings has got that's overlong ending, this has got an overlong 45-minute ending. You know, there are so many points where I was thinking, oh, that's a good ending. Oh no, it's not.
Still going.
That's a good ending. Oh no, it's not. And then they get to the actual ending. I'm like, that's a crap ending. Could have just not bothered with that.
That ending was the bad ending.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. There were loads of opportunities for really good endings before that, and the ending they went with was like, yeah, and
but at that point, thank God it ended. I was so happy.
Do you know what I missed from it?
Go on.
A tiny little bit of levity, just a
what
joke,
do you mean?
just anything to lift it, just any shot in daylight, almost like where it wasn't peeing with rain.
It wasn't raining at the end because it was a new dawn.
But it wasn't quite daylight either, was it? It was kind of like you say, it was dawn. It was still like dusky.
Yeah.
So I mean, just
it's a metaphor, Rich. Buy into it.
I know it's a metaphor, Dave, but I just came out feeling really miserable.
Oh, so did I, brother.
It gave me seasonal affective disorder or whatever you called it, because it was just so grim.
If you gave me the choice, you went, Dave, would you rather watch Batman Forever or The Batman Again? Right now, I would pick Batman Forever. Just because...
Okay.
Yeah. This one was not my jam. And I can appreciate it. And
disagree?
I know, it's a mental statement. It's a crazy statement. It's just not for me. This is not for me.
No.
And when I came home, I told my missus I didn't like... Not say I didn't like it, not even disappointed. It's just I was like, it's not built for me. It's not made for me, which is fine because you can't make a film for everyone. Blah 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 blah.
No,
but I surprised myself how much I did not enjoy it.
It almost because it's so like emo that it almost becomes a parody of itself in places. Like Batman is so emo that it almost felt like scary movie version of Batman, you know.
Jesus,
like
yeah. I thought our Pats was good though. I thought
I thought it was great. I couldn't knock him at all. But I mean, he's with what, like one shade of pale off of Twilight, basically. Like,
No, I'm not going to say that because
no, I don't mean his. I mean his. I don't mean his performance. I mean his look. Essentially, his. You know, he was again so emo-y as Bruce Wayne. Again, a better Batman than Bruce Wayne, I'd say.
Well, Bruce Wayne hasn't developed yet. I've let that go overnight, Rich.
Okay.
I think he's going to use Bruce Wayne as a weapon in the future.
He's not Playboy Bruce Wayne in this.
Absolutely not. No.
I'm not sure if I can see him being Playboy Bruce Wayne either. There was a lot of kind of blankly staring at the camera and blankly staring at other characters as Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne did a lot of open mouth staring, and not much else really.
Yeah.
And Alfred, I don't think Alfred was in it enough. There's
Andy Serkis.
Yeah, there's a nice little kind of speech, I suppose. He has like one nice little speech, but other than that, he's kind of a bit, I don't know, secondary. I suppose he is a secondary character, but
There's a lot of characters to squeeze in, but they had time to squeeze everyone in. Because
do you know what I think Robert Pattinson's Batman needs? Needs a Robin.
really,
I think he needs a Robin. Just something to give a bit of light to the shade.
it might be coming. It might be coming in the
I
second.
hope so. Honestly, like a proper Dick Grayson Robin. You know, that would be nice.
There was definitely nods to the sequel and where it would go, and
There
who
definitely
would be
are,
in
and
it.
I really wanted to talk about the nod to the sequel, but we can't without spoiling it. So we're not going to do that. But then I think it's absolutely 100% set up for the next one. And what was nice about it is it isn't an origin story. We've seen so many origin stories of superheroes, and normally, the origin story is what kicks off the franchise. And this was a stage on from the origin story, wasn't it? This was like,
But he was still reeling. He still had daddy's issues and mummy's
still
issues.
reeling, still got his issues, still not 100% the man that he's going to become, but not the very start either. He's been Batman for a while,
Yeah.
but he's still finding his feet, and but not quite a full-on origin story. We don't want to see the Waynes shot in an alley and the pearls falling everywhere
No,
again.
absolutely not.
We've done that now.
So many times. Yeah.
But where can you go with Batman that hasn't been done already? I guess that's the other thing.
I think there's a lot of characters they can still go. I've played the games. I know there's a few.
Yeah.
Like Hush, I know that's a big story. I think that's a good one. I think that's out there. Is it the Court of Owls as well? I think there's some rumours that might be the next one.
There is, yeah. Gotham, the
that's-
TV show did a bit of Court of Owls.
The Lazarus Pits, with Al Ghul, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And then you got more of the random catchers like the Rat Catcher and what's the Mad Hatter and people like that.
I mean,
Dr.
there's lots of baddies to go with, definitely. I mean, kind of like emotionally, I guess. Where does we sort of know where Batman goes, right?
He might get happier.
Yeah, maybe.
If I said to you, Rich, how many memorable scenes was in this movie, can you name some?
Annoyingly, I would not without spoilers. I think the most memorable scene for me doesn't have Batman in it. So the most memorable scene for me is the one right at the end where the Riddler has been captured.
Not the Batmobile lighting up. You didn't like the Batmobile.
I didn't like the Batmobile very much, actually. I know it's an early version of the Batmobile, but it didn't look. I don't know.
thought it was cool. I thought it was so cool.
Looked like a muscle car with a big engine in the back. It didn't look. It looked like something off Fast and Furious rather than Batman.
And what do you want? The Batman and Robin Batmobile or something real?
No, I mean,
big
no.
spoiler.
No, not necessarily, but just
It's
something
gotta do
that's
something different.
a bit more armoured car and a bit less Dodge Charger. That's what.
That is, yeah. I can agree with that. Oh yeah, I know what I said to you yesterday. I said the Rotten Tomatoes scores because we were talking about. In the car, and I told you not to look at them.
I was thinking that the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes would be higher than the audience score because I think critically I can see it being a well-loved movie, but I'm not sure whether audiences will get it. But then, having been on, I've kind of avoided all the Twitter talk that I can until now that I've seen it, and now I've seen all the Twitter talk, I'm all like, oh, actually, maybe people are going to love it. So maybe I was completely wrong about that.
We do seem to be in the minority.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not. It's certainly not a bad movie. It's certainly not a bad movie, but it's it's not as well-rounded as The Dark Knight.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to know what the scores were then? Have a guess.
Oh, yes, got them. I would say, going back on what I said last night now, I would say 85 critic score and 89 audience score, maybe.
86 critics, 89 audience.
Oh, so close. So close.
Very well done.
That was very close.
I'm surprised it's not in the 90s, to be honest. I thought people were...
No, because I think the length puts people off.
Do you think that's the biggest problem?
It is the biggest problem. I think there are lots of little bits you could cut out that it doesn't need that would get it down to a more reasonable length.
Do you think that will affect its rewatchability? Because films like this, comic book movies, I like to rewatch. They're quite easy to rewatch. I don't think this is an easy rewatch.
No, I agree. And I think actually people will see it at the cinema and it will look great. And I think people will watch it on a small screen at home and it might be a bit too dark.
Ooh.
And people might not enjoy it quite so much. I think. It's not the thing I'm not allowed to talk about, dark, but... It's not Alien vs Predator 2 dark.
Oh, okay.
You've banned me from talking about.
You can talk about it on the extras. It's fine.
It's not so dark that you can't see what's going on. But I think potentially, if it's on a small screen rather than a cinema screen, then it's going to lose some.
So you wouldn't go see it again on the cinema?
Oh no! I haven't got another 3 hours of my life to go and see it again, unfortunately. But I'd rather go and watch something else.
Me too, and I didn't think I'd be saying that.
I'd rather go and watch
Batman Forever.
But no, not Batman Forever. No, but I'd rather go and watch something else that's out at the moment, The Duke, or Phantom of the Open, or one of those lighter movies. Life's dark enough right now, right? Like things going on outside in the real world are bad enough. I kind of want
that is very true.
I kind of wanted something lighter in my movie life.
I didn't think it was going to be light before going in.
Oh no, I knew it was going to be dark and gritty.
Yeah.
I just thought it might be dark and gritty with a bad guy that was occasionally funny or occasionally playful, like the Joker in Nolan's Batman. Batman Dark Knight, is dark and gritty, but the Joker has moments of, comedy.
And you don't think Dano had that with Riddler?
No, I don't think he did. I can't remember any. I can't remember it. It felt very relevant of a kind of a Trumpy kind of...
Yeah.
That kind of, incel kind of baddie, I guess. But yeah, I didn't... It was very humorless. Took itself very seriously.
Yeah.
And, I think maybe Batman needs to kind of laugh at itself a little.
I think it needs to be little. This will lead us on actually to the next question, which is our rating and the unequal sequel question. And when I say the unequal sequel question, I'm going to compare it to other Batman films.
Okay.
Because I think that's the only way we can do it on this one. Because obviously
which
it's not
other
a sequel.
Batman film?
All those Batman films.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Do you know what I mean? Where would you put it?
Where would I rank it in the Batman films?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't completely ruin it, because one day we might do a ranking. We might get desperate.
Probably a high middle, I guess, because there are some shockers.
Batman and Robin is the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. But I thought I wasn't allowed to say that in case did a ranking. But yeah, Batman and Robin's definitely the bottom.
Well, that's simple, isn't it?
And Dark Knight is the top.
Okay, and there we. Yeah.
And this was, I would say, the top of the middle for this.
Okay, I'm going to be intrigued to see it again. I'm not going to watch it in the cinema again. Like you, I can't sit there for 3 hours.
I mean, I'd probably put Batman Begins above it, probably. But again, I don't know.
I haven't watched Batman Dark Knight Rises recently, so I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I can't comment on if it's as good as the last one. That's not the last one, because it's been Justice League and I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But Nolan's one, because I can't really remember Rises, and I was so disappointed with it. I'm going to have to give it a rewatch very soon.
I watched it not long ago, and I was less disappointed with it than when I watched it first time.
Okay, that gives me hope.
Yeah,
that gives me hope.
It's still not. It's not as good as Dark Knight, but it's
Don't know. It's pinnacle.
hard to be. Anyway, upper middle. I would
Cool.
put this one.
I would agree with you. I'm not saying. I know I've said the Batman Forever. Like I've said that. I'm not saying this is a better film than Batman Forever. I'm not.
You're just right now in your life, you'd rather watch Batman Forever than this.
I think I'd get more enjoyment out of Batman Forever because Jim Carrey goes to 11. And it's fucking mental. And yes, there is some absolutely horrible bits. I watched the clip today when the first line you hear Batman say is Alfred offering him a sandwich before he goes out. And you just remember and think, oh yeah, there are absolutely some horrible bits in this movie. But I don't know, for enjoyment value.
I think there's a Batman we're forgetting as well. The Lego Batman.
Hey, I forgot about the Lego Batman.
Which, also...
It's hilarious from what I remember.
Yeah, Will Arnett as Lego Batman, amazing.
What would you rate this one out of 7? This is going to be an interesting question.
It is an interesting one, and again, it's something I've been thinking about most of the day. And
That's good. We're taking it seriously.
I've been wavering on it as well, and I think probably a 5.
Wow,
maybe a 5.5.
That sounds positive.
It's positive. It is positive. I still think it's a good movie. It's just not one I want to watch again. You can have that, right? There are good movies exist that you've seen once and you don't need to see them again. And I think this is probably that.
I don't think we'll ever put this in the category of going, it can't be as bad as I remember it. So that's a positive thing. But it might be in the category of going, it may be better than I remember it, and then it's not. Which I think is another category. I would go 4 out of 7.
Okay.
I liked all the elements.
It's better than the middle.
Because it's a well-made movie. Like, everyone's very good in it. It looks really good. I think it sounds really good. My biggest thing is just it's a downer. And I like Seven, Zodiac, and I like those kind of films. And people know I have an issue with runtimes. But then they have to remember my favourite films are Lord of the Rings, which are, 3-hour epics, As long as you do use those 3 hours well, which I don't think the Batman does.
And that's, again, actually, thinking about it, I think
you can trim it.
It's not so much the length, it's the pacing as well.
Oh, yeah.
Some things felt so long and some bits felt so short. Like some bits it didn't feel like there was enough explanation. Like I didn't get enough of why the Riddler was the Riddler. I didn't get enough of his kind of backstory as you might, or his motivation. I agree.
I'd like them to lean into that a bit more.
Lingering on Batman's unhappiness. Yeah. That's so pacing.
Yeah.
Not even length, pacing.
Well, I would say both, but
yeah, I mean, I would love. I think I said to you yesterday. I would love like a Rocky 4 cut where where the new cut of Rocky 4 that Stallone's done, where he lost 40 minutes, and I would love to see a cut where they lose 40 minutes of this movie.
I'd like to see
I think they can.
films.
I think there is 40 minutes of flab to cut.
We actually had a couple of responses to a tweet today.
Ooh.
Saying, what are your thoughts? Harley at the Fundamentals podcast loved it! ! And then Ryan, I'm sorry, Ryan, I can't pronounce your second name. At Bearded Rhino 15 might be the best overall Batman we've had on screen. Need more of Arpats as Bruce in the second, but not much more.
Okay, not much.
Which we kind of agree with.
Yeah.
Just that little bit of that international Playboy that is a cover for Batman.
Yeah. I totally get why people absolutely love it, and I think we thought either way we were going to love it or hate it when we went in to see it, didn't we?
Yeah,
and we didn't. Neither actually. I don't hate it, and I didn't love it.
It's just not for me. It's not for me. It's just not for me. And I never thought I'll say that about a Batman film. It's not for me. And everything's good about it. It's just not. It did make a connection with my heart and my head. And sadly, other Batman films do.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. Not everyone likes the same stuff, Dave. It's kind of the whole premise of our podcast.
That is very true. Yeah.
If it was boring, if it was boring,
what, the podcast?
It would be boring if everyone came on and said, "This is the best sequel. This is the worst sequel," and they're all the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Godfather Part 2, Trolls 2, not Trolls 2, Troll 2.
Oh, okay. Either works. This could be a great way to link into our next section.
So if you want to hear
There we
what...
go.
All right. I was getting there.
I was really proud of
setting it
that.
up.
Really proud. I thought, we're doing hard work here. We're getting praise. Go on. Knock it out.
And if you
At the
do want
park.
to hear
No.
what other people have thought about their best sequel, their worst sequel, and their dream sequel, go back and listen to our other episodes. If this is the first episode you've listened to, most of our episodes aren't just me and Dave moaning. Most of them are interview episodes with really great people that you want to go back and listen to. Mm-hmm. So do that. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. When new episodes drop, then you'll get them automatically. You won't have to keep looking for us. But also, give us a cheeky little follow on Twitter. Give us a follow on Instagram. We are at
please.
Unequal Sequel on both. You can even send us an email if for some reason you want to. It's unequalsequel@hotmail.com.
There you go.
We'd love to hear from you. We'd love a review. If you happen to be on iTunes or on Spotify, give us some stars, give us a little review. We love to hear your comments, even if you disagree with us and you think we're idiots. Still want to hear.
I still want to just classify, give us 5 stars and then call us idiots, okay? Don't mind that at all.
Yes, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Also, I would just like to say, go and listen to the Flix Watcher podcast because me and Dave have been on it. So their most recent episode talking about Highlander, which is a film me and Dave definitely disagree on. Let's go and have a listen. It's
great. It is fun. Thank you for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. Rich, can we tell them what we're doing next week? I think we can.
Yeah, we are. We're going to be having a little retrospective anniversary review of Blade 2 because it's 20 years, 25 20 years since 20 years since Blade 2 came out. Yeah, 2002.
Wow. I remember going to see that, but we'll crack onto that next week. Well, I feel old. Thank you for listening. I've got nothing else to say, so it's a bye-bye from me, and bye-bye, and a bye-bye from him.
Bye!
Have a cracking week. Thanks, bye.